Alright, today's video is going to cover solving equations with variables on both sides, and we're given proofs as we solve. So you can see this first example, there's a x variable on the left side of the equation and an x variable on the right side of the equation. So this video is going to cover what to do when you've got a variable you're trying to solve for on both sides. So before we do anything new, let's go ahead and just simplify if we can. So negative 8 minus x can simplify. 1 minus 3x minus 1. We've got like terms. We've got 1 and we've got negative 1. We can go ahead and simplify those. So we've got negative 8 minus x, and then after we simplify this 1 minus 1, 1 minus 1 is 0, so we're just left with negative 3x. Now, there's lots of different ways to go ahead and solve these equations. I'm going to teach you how to solve it the most efficient way, so the way that requires the least amount of steps. So what side does it make sense to keep the x on? Probably the side with the least amount of numbers. So if you see here, the left side's got one number, and then there's no number in front of x, but since it's a minus, we can go ahead and put a 1. So we got negative 1. We've got two numbers on the left side, and then on the right side we've only got one number. So it makes sense to keep x on the right side. So I'm just going to keep or put a v over the right side. This is the variable side. We keep the variable on this side, and then on this side we're going to go ahead and keep the numbers. So if we're going to keep the numbers on this left side, we need to eliminate the variable. The variable here is negative 1x. If we want to eliminate it, we've got to do the inverse. So we're going to go ahead and do the inverse of a subtraction or minus. We're going to add. And what do we want to eliminate? We want to eliminate 1x, so we're going to go ahead and add 1x. Well, if I add 1x to the left side, I've got to add it to the right side. So I'm going to add x to the other side. Why can I add to both sides? The additive property of equality. So after I simplify this left side, negative 1 plus 1x is 0, and I'm just left with a negative 8 equals. I can go ahead and combine these because they're both x terms. So we've got negative 3 plus x, or just 1x, so negative 3 plus 1. I'm going to use a calculator to do that. Whoops. We've got negative 3 plus 1, so negative 3 plus is right here, 1. Boom. That's a negative 2, so we got negative 2x here. Now we can go ahead and eliminate the number on the variable side, this negative 2. There's no sign between the number and the variable, so we know they're being multiplied. We're going to go ahead and divide because that's the inverse. Make sure you do it to both sides. Why can we do that? The division property of equality. Now we can simplify. We got negative 8 divided by negative 2. That's a positive 4. And a negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1. And 1 times x is x. So we've got 4 equals x is our answer. Now we've got the next example. The first one is given to us. Let's go ahead and look to simplify. We've got a negative x and a negative 5x that we can combine. They're like terms. So if it's in 1, we've got negative 1 minus 5. Same sign, add and keep. So we've got negative 6x equals 4 minus 2x. So if you're looking at this, you see that the x term is on both sides. What side does it make the most sense to keep it on? The side with the least amount of numbers. And we can make this the number side. Let's go ahead and start by eliminating the x term on the number side. So it's being subtracted on this side, so we're going to add it. We're going to add 2x. If we add it to the right, we got to add it to the left. Why can we do that? The additive property of equality lets us do that. Now we can go ahead and simplify. So we got 0 here, so 4 minus 0 is just 4. And a negative 6 plus a 2. If you owe 6, you have 2. You're going to owe money still. After you pay the 2 you have into the 6 that you owe, you still owe 4. So we got negative 4x. Now we can go ahead and do the last step. So we're going to go ahead and divide since it's being multiplied. Do it to both sides. Why can we do that? Division property of equality. Here we're left with just x, or 1x, equals 4 divided by negative 4 is a negative 1. That is our answer for this equation. So you can see that the hardest part is eliminating the x term on one side. This is the last example for today. So the first equation is given to us. Go ahead and look to combine first. So nothing here to combine. We've got a 1 and we've got a positive 8. 1 plus 8, that's 9. So we've got 1 minus 3x equals 9 minus 5x. Now you can see that the left side and the right side both have the same amount of numbers. We've got two numbers on the left, we've got two numbers on the right. So what do you do when you've got this scenario? You can choose either side, but I always choose the side where the x term has the biggest number in front. So the number in front of the x term on the left is a -3 and a -5, -3 and a -5. Which number is bigger? Well, -3 is bigger than -5. I know that's kind of weird. So I'm going to make this the side that I keep it on, and I'll make this the side that I eliminate it on. I'm going to go ahead and start by eliminating the variable term on the number side by adding. That's the inverse. 5x is what we want to eliminate. Make sure I do it to the other side, and I write it under this term because this is the term that I can combine it with. Why can I add to both sides? Additive property of equality. The second equation, after we simplify, we've got 1 minus 3x plus 5x. These combine to a positive 2, so we've got 1 plus 2x equals 9 minus 5x plus 5x. Those go to 0. When we add them, we're just left with 9. That's a plus. Sorry, it looks like a times. It's not a times, it's a plus. Now we can go ahead and start eliminating the numbers on the variable side. The easiest number to eliminate is the one by itself. Since it's positive in front, that's the same as addition. Inverse is subtraction. Make sure you do it to both sides. That's the subtraction property of equality. We can go ahead and simplify 1 minus 1 to 0. 0 plus 2x is just 2x. Equals 9 minus 1 is 8. And now the last step to eliminate the 2, since it's being multiplied, we can go ahead and divide. That's the inverse here. These divide to 1. We're left with just x equals 8 divided by 2 is 4. That is our answer. And why can we divide 2 to both sides? Division property of equality. This is your homework today. The hardest step is going to be the step that you have to choose what side to keep the variable on and what side to eliminate the variable on. Please message me or post in the update page on Schoology if you have any questions as you're working through the problem set. Good luck.